Riverside FM.
Welcome everybody on a Thanksgiving Thursday. Hope you are enjoying family, friends, food, and football. This is the A Train Sports Talk Video Podcast live stream. I am your host and conductor of what I simply call the ride. And yes, we are going to take you on a ride on this Thanksgiving. Trust me, this is not work. This is the fun part. So once again, I want to wish each and every one of you a happy Thanksgiving. Recording on the Riverside Flat.fm platform. And we have a lot to get into. We're going to talk high school football championship week. I am elated to be with you. Hope you enjoy the video stream. Hope you enjoy the podcast once it's published. Hope you enjoy the clips that will be up also on YouTube, also on TikTok as well too. I appreciate all of you who hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, by all means, please hit that like button, subscribe to it because I promise to get you some of the best content that I possibly can. And yes, if you see the headlines, it says high school football championship week and more. Because I did a show the other day and I'm going to expound up on that a little bit more. But we are going to get into the high school football playoffs or the championship weeks because champions will be crowned this Friday and this Saturday. And it has been a real good football season. First of all, I want to say, how about those Southeast Golden Buffaloes here in the city of Wichita? No, they're not playing for a championship, but the season they had, I'm pretty sure no one expected it outside of that locker room. So I want to send a shout out to Southeast Golden Buffaloes. Northwest, although they came up short in their quest, Steve Martin is still looking for that elusive state title, which I feel that someday he's going to get. But this season provided us with a lot of excitement. East High, a team that was expected to really push. I say they would probably consider this a down season, but they still came out with a winning record, and they did something that I don't think too many teams do. They had to go back to the same venue twice. They closed out their regular season against a Dodge City team that is a very formidable team. They lost that first game, but they went back on the road the next week for a sectional game. I guess that's what they call it now, and came away with the dub. So for that, I say kudos to you because not too many teams do that. Some teams feel like, hey, our season is lost. Let's get this over with. But East High wanted to prove that, hey, we played y'all close the first time. They made the adjustments. They came away with the victory second time around. So, Coach Ackpen, hey, man, I believe you're building something over there. I know East High is dealing with some tragedy amongst their coaching ranks. So, we send our prayers and condolences to the family of the coach whose life was uh, cut short. Also, we send prayers and condolences to the East High Blue Aces community. We pray that you heal from this and that you can move forward because I believe their coaching staff over there across all sports, I believe they have a tight knit bond. They support each other. I believe the football team supports the basketball team. The basketball team supports the football team. Both boys and girls team, they support each other. Uh, it's just the culture being built over there. Excuse me, there. And I just believe that they will be a program. And then when I say program, I'm talking about across multiple sports that you would have to pay attention to and you have to reckon with. They will be a force to be reckoned with. Uh, Cape and Mount Carmel, we will get to them. They're holding up the Wichita banner. But with that being said, let's take a look at the championship matchups, starting with 6A. And I will say this, I'm going to be doing some live promo spots right here. So when you hear me say I'm gonna have to break for a commercial spot, you get to see me do that live right here. So you're going to get the raw, unedited. I mean, there will be some edits afterwards, but you're going to get everything right here, live on the ride with your host and conductor of the train, Anthony Smith. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Let's get started. Start with 6A. Manhattan, the number one team, coming in with a 10-2 record. They advance back to the 6A state title game for the second consecutive season with a 38-7 win over Derby. Indians led 21-7 at halftime and outscored the Panthers 17-0 in the second half. Kamario Davis rushed for 124 yards and a touchdown, and Joseph Mortensen added 48 yards and two scores on the ground as Manhattan rushed for 202 yards. J.J. Dunnigan, a young man I had on my podcast, threw a touchdown pass to Grayson Wassenberg, and Evan Middleton returned a fumble for a score. The Indians have now won 5 of the last 6 meetings over Derby. Manhattan has been in the 6A state championship game 3 of the past 4 years. They will be taking on Olathe Northwest this Saturday at 1 o'clock at Emporia State's Welch Stadium, which leads us to Olathe Northwest, who comes in at 9-3, ranked as the number 2 team, continued the best season in school history by knocking out two-time defending champion Gardner Edgerton 42-28. The Ravens led 28-21 at halftime and outscored the Trailblazers 14-7 in the second half. Michael Heffley broke a long touchdown run to start the scoring for the Ravens. Brody Comfort then hit Quinn Sullivan on a touchdown pass, and Bryce Randall's scoring run later gave the Ravens a 21-14 lead. Randall's second rushing score put Olathe Northwest up 26-14, 28-14, before Gardner Edgerton pulled within a score at halftime. Northwest regained a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter when Comfort hit Michael McKeever on a touchdown pass. Comfort then later rushed for a touchdown in the final minute to put the game away and send the Ravens to their first state football championship game. So we're looking forward to a well contested game. Once again, that game time is at 1 o'clock at Emporia's Jack Welch Stadium on Saturday, this Saturday. Next, we move into 5A, where the number one team with a 12-0 record, Baser Linwood, a consistent winner under coach Rod Stahlbomber, moved into the first state title game in school history, a 28-20 win versus St. James Academy. The Bobcats trailed 14-0 at halftime and 14-7 after 3 quarters before erupting for a 21-6 fourth quarter. Gavin Mitchell broke a long run to set up his short scoring run a couple of plays later to tie the game at 14. Baser Linwood took the lead on a scoring pass from Carson Dixon to Roman Miller midway through the quarter. St. James would answer with a TD pass to pull within 21-20, but the PAT was no good. Mitchell then broke a touchdown run from midfield with around a minute to go to complete the scoring. Mitchell finished with 206 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 32 attempts. Can you say he was a workhorse in that game? By all means, yes. Dixon rushed for 90 yards and passed for 76 yards on the touchdown. Jacob Sharp also returned an interception for the Bobcats' first score. They will be playing Friday at 2 o'clock against Salina Central, who comes in at 11-1. That game will be played at Emporia State's Welch Stadium. That's the 2 o'clock kickoff time. So let's talk about Salina Central. As they held off undefeated Great Bend 30-28 in advance to its first state championship game since 2005. Mustangs controlled the game throughout the multiple long drives and led 16-6 at halftime and 23-21 after the third quarter. Salina Central went ahead by 9 on a TD pass with 33 seconds left. Great Bend quickly scored, but the Mustangs recovered the onside kick. Cooper Rivas rushed 38 times for 161 yards. There's another workhorse and 2 scores for the Mustangs, while Griffin Hall added 71 yards on 20 attempts. The ground game was definitely in full effect. Hall also passed for 86 yards and a score. So once again, looks to be a very highly contested, competitive game at Emporia's Welch Stadium. Now we move to 4A. And I may show a little bias here because this next team is the only team from the city of Wichita. And needless to say, yes, I am rooting for a Wichita team to bring a trophy back. But I'm going to try to not show so much bias, okay? Try not to do that. Yeah, I thought that was kind of humorous too. But anyway, Cape and Mount Carmel rode to the state championship game with a 56-7 victory over Wamego. That means they held that team in check. And there is a kid that plays for Wamego who is their quarterback named Logan Fulton, who I'm very high on. I mean, kid passed for over 2,500 yards this year. I mean, he's just, if I'm correct, I believe he's just a sophomore. And I will at some point look up some records to see what the all-time passing yards is for a career in the state of Kansas because I believe this young man will shatter them. I mean, I believe he's the real deal, and I'm pretty sure scouts are watching him. But the Crusaders scored 4 touchdowns in the opening quarter to take control and led 42-0 at halftime. Kyle Purvis started the game with a 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Cole Rapp added 3 of his 4 rushing scores in the first half. Rapp rushed for 107 yards on the night, while Wyatt Sullinger added 97 yards and a touchdown on 10 attempts. Rapp also added 97 yards passing, including a long touchdown strike to Ethan Burr. Cape defense forced 4 Red Raider turnovers on the night. One thing you can say about a Western Sharks team, he loves to run the ball. Run left, run right, run up the middle, ground and pound, wear the defense out. So, best of luck to Coach Western Sharks as they will be taking on a 7-5 Bishop Miege team for the Class 4A state championship game, also at Emporia State's Welch Stadium. That game time is 7 p.m., which now leads into Bishop Miege went on the road and outscored Lebec County 37-7. The game was scoreless until the 5:12 mark of the second quarter when Landon Cole hit Wesley Walsh on a 13-yard touchdown pass to put Bishop Miege on the board. The Stags then pulled away with 17 points in the final 2 minutes 52 seconds of the half to take a 24-7 halftime lead. Cole hit Jaden McDaniel on a 60-yard touchdown pass. John Watsky added a short touchdown run, and Joseph Jaska kicked a field goal Cole and Vinny George added touchdowns on the ground in the second half. The Miege defense forced 2 turnovers and held Labette County to 97 yards of total offense. Labette County High School was into the state semifinals for the first time in school history. So once again, Capon Mount Carmel taking on Bishop Miege for the 4A state championship. So what I am going to do right here is where I am going to take that first break. When it comes to safety, trust the professionals, protect what matters most. Private security team. From small businesses to major events, PST provides reliable, round the clock protection tailored to your needs. Trained officers stand by, ready to secure your property, deter crimes, and deliver peace of mind. Protect your investment, protect your people. Call Ladarian Edwards today at 316 749 7817 or email ladarian29 at gmail.com. That's LEDARION 29 at gmail.com. That's private security team, the first line of defense. We welcome you back to our next segment here. We're still talking high school football championship week, state of Kansas. We covered 6A. We covered 5A. We covered 4A. Now we're getting ready to dive in to 3A. And let's just say the rematch of last year's 3A title game. And this team is on a what would you say, 20, let me see, 20, I know it's 20 plus game winning streak. Mind you, before their streak got snapped, before they were on a 55 game winning streak. Who am I talking about? A team that scores points more than a basketball team does. We're talking about the number one ranked Andale Indians. Andale continue to assert themselves as the best team in 3A with a 41-7 victory versus Rock Creek. That would have to be one of the lowest point totals all season long. The Indians went ahead 8-0 on a Sam Harp touchdown run late in the first quarter. Drayton Dancel and Harp added rushing scores before halftime as the Indians led 20-7 at the break. Definitely a low total for Andale standards. Harp then added a pair of touchdowns in the third quarter. Harp rushed for 124 yards and 4 touchdowns and passed for 76 more yards. Jack Horsch added 81 yards and a score on the ground. Andale will face Topeka Hayden in the 3A title game for a second consecutive season. Andale beat Hayden 36-19 in the state title game last fall. The Indians have won 25 straight games. which leads us to Topeka Hayden, a battle of the unbeaten. Topeka Hayden dominated surprising Santa Fe Trail 46-0. Hayden recovered Santa Fe Trail onside kick to start the game and cashed in shortly after on a Jackson McGivern touchdown run. Connor Hanukkah then hit Mackay Kidd on scoring pass for a 14-0 lead. Mason Becker rushed for more than 200 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Wildcats. Jude Krentz also added a pair of rushing touchdowns. Santa Fe Trail standout quarterback Ridgely Schleter left the game in the first half with an injury. Hayden has not lost to Santa Fe Trail since 1996. This game will be Friday at 6 o'clock at Hutchinson Community College. That's the 3A game. Now for the 2A game. Defending champs coming in undefeated. Southeast of Saline. Held off a solid Hoisington squad 22-12 and returned to the state championship game. All of the scoring came in the first half. Southeast of Saline led 8-6 after the first quarter. Senior Tierman Patek, the starting quarterback in the second half of the year after an injury to Gannon Jacobson, finished with 6 of 13 passing for 121 yards and a score. Senior Grady Gabhart delivered 25 carries on 100 for 162 yards and a score. Southeast of Saline will again face Nemaha Central after it won last year 36-28 in a classic. Southeast of Saline has captured 25 straight victories. And that game will be played at 12 o'clock on Saturday, Class 2A state championship game at Hutch Community College. So let's take a look at Nemaha Central. Nemaha Central, playing in the mud and rain, defeated Osage City 22-19 and returned to the state title game behind another big performance from Carter Hayjack. Nemaha Central has won its last 2 games by a combined 4 points. Hayjack finished 42 carries for 290 yards, 2 scores. There's your workhorse right there. He completed just 2 of 3 passes for 12 yards, though had a TD. All but one of the Thunder's offensive plays involved Hayjack. Nemaha Central has reached 4 straight title games. Once again, that game will be played this Saturday at noon at Hutchinson Community College, which now leads us to 1A, where number 1 Sterling coming in at 12-0, enjoying his best season since 1982, beat previously undefeated Smith Center 14-6. Black Bears scored twice in the second quarter on a pair of short rushing touchdowns from Zane Farney. Farney has rushed for more than 2,000 yards, 39 touchdowns this season. That's a workhorse. Was held to 65 yards on 17 carries. Jace Darnauer added 45 yards on 10 attempts as the Bears rushed 130 yards on the night. Smith Center managed a single score at the end of the third quarter, but could draw no closer. So they will be playing in the Friday game versus Rossville, also at Hutchinson Community College. Rossville beat Jackson Heights 21-18. After trailing 18-14 at halftime, the Bulldogs scored the only points in the second half on a third quarter touchdown pass from Cannon Mitchell to Cale Horgan. That play came after a Cobra fumble. Mitchell passed for 104 yards and 2 scores, both to Hogan, who had 81 receiving yards. Mitchell rushed for 92 yards and the score. Rossville managed 165 yards on the ground in the muddy field conditions. Jackson Heights ran for 266 yards, including 167 and three scores from senior Drake Mellies. Jackson Heights, ranked number one nearly all season, fell just short of a state championship trip. Rossville rallied to top Jackson Heights 42-38 in the state quarterfinals last season. Rossville is back in the state title game for the first time since winning in 2020 and 21. Once again, Rossville versus Sterling. Battle of the Unbeatens at Hutchinson Community College Friday at 1 o'clock. What I'm going to do right here, I'm going to take my next break. And when I come back, we will take a look at 8-man Division 1 and 8-man Division 2. Looking for the ultimate smoke and vape destination? Step into 360 Tobacco and Vape, your one-stop shop for everything you love. They've got premium vapes, CBD, Delta products, kratom, hookahs, and more, all under one roof. Whether you're chasing flavor, relaxation, or your next chill vibe, 360 Tobacco and Vape as you cook. With multiple locations across the area, there's always a 360 near you. So why wait? Stop by today and experience 360 Tobacco and Vape. The circle of satisfaction never ends. 360 Tobacco and Vape. We keep you lit. We welcome you back again to another segment as we get ready to put a wraps on the high school football playoffs. I wasn't trying to do that impersonation. We're going to take a look at 8-man Division 1 and 8-man Division 2 because I'm pretty sure there will be some entertaining games. And I'll see some of the scores of these 8-man games, and I still have yet to go to the 8-man game, and I think we have at least 3 games right here in our capital city. Let me say it differently. We have 3 teams in our capital city that play 8-man football. I believe out there Word of Life. I also believe Life Prep and the Independent School. And when you see some of the scores of these 8-man games, you're like, wow, was that score really like that? So we're going to take a look at 8-man Division One as South Central, ranked number one with an 11-0 record, advanced to its second state championship game in 3 years with a 40-32 win versus Hill City. The Timberwolves held a slight 20-18 lead at halftime and outscored the Ringnecks 20-14 in the second half. Easton Huck passed for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns and added 175 yards rushing with 3 more scores. Wow. Jack Hurd hauled in 8 receptions for 136 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Pauley and Parker Price each caught touchdown passes from Huck. Defensively, Hurd had 17 tackles and blocked a punt. 2 years ago, South Central fell to Axtell in the Division II championship game. And they will be taking on Lincoln, who comes in at 11-1. That game will be played at Greensburg in Kiowa County at 11 o'clock. Their opponent, Sylvan Lucas, in a battle of Northern Plains League rivals, Lincoln defeated Sylvan Lucas 48-28 for the second time this season. Lincoln had never won a playoff game before this year. Benjamin Bell led the ground game with 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Miller rushed 15 times for 115 yards and 2 scores, along with 95 yards passing and 2 scores. Xavier Miller caught 4 passes for 134 yards, 2 scores. Next up for them, the 11 o'clock game versus South Central, also at 11-0 in the 8-man one state championship game at Greensburg, Kiowa County, which now leads us to 8-man Division II. Hanover, what can we say? This is kind of parallel, if I can make the comparison, to what Cheney did when they knocked off Andale. First, they ended the 58-game win streak. Then they defeated rival Axtell 34-24 for the second time this season and is back in the state title game for the first time since 2020. There's a reason they're back in the state title game for the first time since 2020, because Axtell has held that spot. Axtell led Hanover 16-6 after the first quarter. Hanover trailed 16-14 at halftime. In the third quarter, Brody Sedlak caught a 19-yard pass from Cadrick Cohorst. Axtell reclaimed a 24-20 lead when Wyatt Detweller rushed 65 yards for a touchdown. However, Hanover responded with 2 scores. Cooper Bruna caught a 3-yard pass from Cohorst to complete the third quarter scoring. In the fourth quarter, Tanner Bruna hauled in a 50-yard pass from Cohorst. Axtell finished with 43 more yards on offense. However, Axtell had 4 turnovers and Hanover won. Hanover has won 6 state titles with Matt Hewer, including a victory versus Doug Oberly in Victoria in 2008. So this looks to be an entertaining game. They will be at 7 o'clock versus Victoria for 8-man Division II state championship game at Greensburg, Kiowa County, which now we will take a look at Victoria, coming in also at 11-0. Victoria steadily pulled away from Hodgman County in a 48-0 victory at home. The Knights had beaten Hodgman County for the district title 28-14 in a much closer game to conclude the regular season. Senior quarterback Wyatt Schmidberger rushed for 2 touchdowns and ran for another score. In the second half, Victoria had a key interception by Wes Dreiling and blocked a punt. The Knights lost to Axtell in the state title game last season. Coach Doug Oberly has 4 state rings, the first as an assistant, and the last 3 as head coach 2004, 2006, 14, and 15. He has finished second twice in 2008 and 24. Victoria led Hodgman County 24-0 at halftime. Once again, this game will be played Saturday at 7 o'clock versus Hanover for the 8-man Division II state championship game at Greensburg, Kiowa County. And there is your look at the championship week. So I hope you get out and support these young men. Next, what I want to do, I want to go back and revisit a story I did just the other day. And the theme is still football. But I want to kind of shed some light on how media can get us, the consumer, to get things twisted. So, despite becoming the first Cleveland Browns quarterback to win his first career start in nearly 3 decades, Shedeur Sanders isn't taking his opportunity for granted. Get that part right there. He says, I'm definitely not comfortable, though. So, that's first and foremost that I have another opportunity to go out there. Sanders said Wednesday, according to ESPN's Daniel Yofusi. But in life, you got to understand how quickly things come or how long it comes. It could be taken at any point in time. He says, so I'm never comfortable in a situation I'm in. I always want to exceed expectations and I always want to grow in each and every week. I would want to put a better product of myself, be a better version of myself for the team. Yes, I'm throwing some haymakers. Let me say this. He's throwing some haymakers for those of you who think he's only in it for himself. Sanders helped lead the Browns to a 24-10 win over the Las Vegas Raiders last week, completing 11 of 20 passes for 209 yards with 1 touchdown and an interception. On Monday, head coach Kevin Stefanski named Sanders the starter for Sunday's game against the San Francisco 49ers, despite fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel clearing concussion protocol. Gabriel started 6 games before exiting Cleveland's November 16 matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens with a head injury. Sanders, a 5th-round selection by the Browns in April, began the preseason at the bottom of the depth chart. He rose up the pecking order after Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco were traded to the Raiders and Cincinnati Bengals, respectively. The Colorado product is gradually establishing chemistry with the Browns' offensive starters after practicing with the unit for the first time a week ago, saying that he and his teammates are getting more comfortable with each other. When asked about his expectations for his second start, Sanders remained focused on the task at hand, saying, I'll say to do my job, Sanders said. That leads me into this because a lot was made of his post game interview that they only played a certain clip of that went viral. And that's what media will do. Media will play what they want or what they think they want us to hear so we can form an opinion of someone. But I'm going to give you the first part because when they asked Sanders about his performance, Shedeur Sanders on his faith in God, Raiders post-game con- conference. When reflecting on the past several months, including his draft slide and waiting for his chance to start, Shedeur Sanders said, coming up here before you all 6, 7 months ago, I couldn't tell you I'd be here. You know, God is the only way I'm able to even get through everything. Being able to see my family, that was important, and I'm happy they were here to be able to witness it. But without God, nothing is possible, honestly. And I mean that truly and dearly. He goes on to also say, since I went through everything the past 6 months, it led me to a whole different understanding. It led me to my own experience with God, with having faith when nobody else can help you in your situation but God. That's why I'm truly thankful and I'm truly happy. This is the first time I never had stress. I did the work, I did everything I can in my power, I was able to do. He attributes his ability to handle the pressure and his journey to his faith, emphasizing his belief that his success and opportunity are directly connected to God. That right there was a highly publicized post game interview. But here's the part that the media want us to see, his viral quote. When asked about his performance in his first NFL start, Shador Sanders stated, winning is crazy. Off of 1 week of practice, you know what I mean? This 1 week of practice. So imagine what a full off season looks like. It gets dangerous, but it's just 1 week of practice. So I'm just truly, here it goes, thankful that everything happened. So, what are the takeaways from that confidence, arrogance debate? The 1 week of practice quote was interpreted by many as supreme confidence, while critics called it arrogant, especially after being passed over by other teams in the draft. Addressing the doubters or haters, he took the opportunity to send a strong message to those who doubted him, especially after his poor performance in the second half of the previous week's game. He mentioned being skipped multiple times in the draft. The surreal feeling, he expressed how surreal the moment felt, knowing he had the responsibility of the Browns organization on his shoulders in his first start. You have to be careful when the media is feeding you, especially when they take a clip from a whole interview and play what they think they want us, the consumer, to hear. That way we can form an opinion, factual or unfactual, about an individual. Some of y'all deem him as cocky, whereas he sees himself as confident. His daddy, though, said it best. And here's where the problem may lie right here. He says, don't let my confidence offend your insecurities. Maybe it's your insecurities that's not letting you see the difference between cockiness and confidence. On that note, I'm getting ready to bring the train into the station. Once again, hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving, enjoying family, friends, food, and football. I know right now, I smell my wife's cooking. That turkey look good. Them greens are lip smacking good. I tasted the yams, sweet but not too sweet. Mashed potatoes, homemade. Mm. I'm telling you, enjoy this day. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. God bless. Until the next time, keep those tickets because they are reusable and we will enjoy another ride another time. I'm out.
Powered by Riverside FM.